Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Rao. I was going to give you what an organized mind looks like and how we could really balance our action and emotions and really deliver our purpose and our service better, right? Um, I will be using few sayings from the ancients. Okay, okay, Marble is coming. Okay, so this is kind of gives you a hold on your thoughts and emotions too. I'm a,
Hi, Dr. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, this is
Yeah,
a,
I just lost you earlier because I think the connection is bad.
yeah, that's
It's
okay.
alright.
That's okay. Uh, yeah, this thing. I think you like this topic. This is about organizing the mind and also getting a balanced balance between thoughts and actions and the emotions.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, I see a lot of people don't have this control over their, whatever
Uh-huh.
they're thinking or, and
Mhm.
then they got stressed by because they have to achieve so much, they are demanded so much, or they have to take care of the families, whatever, right? So
Uh-huh.
when I tell them about this, they say, "What is an organized mind?" I'm not saying you have to be like these rules, but understanding how our thoughts go and how thoughts function and how we can have control over them just by being aware of it.
Yes.
Everybody knows that we have a limbic system that controls the emotions and also responses to the stresses, whatever stress thrown at us, like a danger or something going to happen, right? So you want to be careful about that. Then there is a something higher than that, our greater intellect, which is a prefrontal cortex that really helps us to balance all this. You know,
Yes.
discrimination. But if you are reacting just like instinctively with whatever is coming at you, then you're going to generate a lot of sympathetic tone that leads to a lot of stress hormones, and then you don't have an inner resilience to balance that out. You know, people,
Yes.
if you keep them inside, then they act against you. But if you yell it out, suppose you are yelling out at our spouses or kids, then our relationship will be spoiled, right? So
Yes.
people don't take care of themselves with the diet and exercise and all that, but also they really don't know how to take care of this volatile thoughts and emotions, and they may say something, they may do something that they will regret later. They know it's not good, but in the moment, in the heat of the moment, they do that. They react. They don't respond. They say. So I thought I'll give them through the ancient wisdom, through the
Mhm.
understanding of neural science, we can have a
Mhm.
practical way of making our mind organized enough that gives you that inner resilience, both thought wise and also emotions wise. How does it
Oh,
sound?
Dr. Ross, that's a good one because you combine
Yeah.
ancient and latest
Yes.
now. That's the good one because sometimes even me sometimes we're only human, so
Mm.
sometimes it's like popping up like you're just distracted. That's why even if you organize or like,
Yes.
for example you already have a plan, so this is when you organize.
Yeah.
For me, my understanding for organizing is just I have a plan.
Yeah.
I put on this is my plan for today. I will cook this one. It's
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes in between, it will shake up.
Yeah.
It will not go along with your plan. So
Yeah.
what will you do?
You see,
Either you,
I understand that neural science, but
Mhm.
what is fascinating to me is thousands of years ago, these people kind of gave real solutions for those, like for example, limbic system, people emotionally react. They are angry, have the rage, they have this intense jealousy and all those things, right? But then the ancients talked about how to transcend that part of the mind that's getting us. You know, like for example, they say you and him are the same. Why are you getting angry with them?
Mhm.
So you live in the oneness where you don't have any separation. So you're not going to be angry with yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. The problem here is that um, it's the way how the people understand it,
Yeah,
how to
that's
apply in their own
yeah,
in their own life, in their own situation, because we we have we are different.
yeah,
Some are people are happy, some are people are sad, some are people are poor, some are people are rich. So in this position, it's just like how you manage in that
yeah.
situation. Um,
We are all different in our expression, but the
yes.
mechanism that is producing is actually
Mhm.
the same, but we approach it to different ways.
Yes.
See,
Yeah,
suppose you
that's
are
true.
there, Mayval, you are conscious, you are aware,
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
think, you can feel. I also the
Mhm.
same thing. I'm also aware, conscious, I
Mhm.
can aware, I can feel and think. Only the way we do it is different.
Yes,
So
that's true.
what I'm focusing here is let us understand the underlying system that is given to us by the nature or the God, and then really act with the intelligence, understanding that. That could
Yeah.
be it could be done through the science, or it could be done through the spiritual methods of yesteryear. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Because my style is not only understand the modern way of arriving at things, but also
Mhm.
understand the wisdom given by the ancients.
Yeah, that's true. That's powerful because
Yeah.
for me, I right now I do believe in technology, but
Mm.
at the same time, I do believe in wisdom. I do believe in in many things.
Yeah.
People sometimes, even my husband, don't understand me if I say something,
Yeah.
but if I explain him like, okay, Han, this is it, da, 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 and then once he listened to me and he's thinking, and they say, okay, now I understand. But if he's not paying attention to what I'm saying, it's just like I don't know. I never heard of
Yeah.
I never heard
You see,
things like
one other thing is everything cannot be our life focused only, because there's a vast life and the globe because if you don't relate on a societal, country, and world level, we are not really helping the problems to be solved. You see, and
sure.
that's where, as a scientist, as somebody seriously involved in these issues, I want to bring the understanding to everybody of what I have. You know
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
So what
I,
happens is then they are applicable to our individual life situation. That's no problem. But then if we want to look everything through the angle of only my life, then we'll miss the bigger picture. You
yeah,
know?
that's true.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I remember this movie,
Mm.
and it's so funny because one of the characters he worked in the church, and
Mm.
then the other one is just he don't have any beliefs. And then one day they meet each other, and then this person said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I only believe in science."
Yeah. You see, if you take the truth seeking, for me, science is looking truth outside in the objects. But the
Yes.
ancient wisdom is looking for the truth in our
Uh-huh.
inner being, in our inside,
Uh-huh.
subjective truth. That's why it looks like a different, but actually, human beings are human beings. They have emotions, they have thoughts, they have all sorts of beliefs and all sorts of impulses and all that. So to
Yes.
understand them and then getting some how, kind of a clarity, kind of direction, kind of focus. That's what I want to give through some of the principles I follow. Okay, this is going to be
Okay.
more like a personal story, but at the same time relates to everybody because I'm a human being, you are a human being,
Right.
everybody else is.
Yes.
So it's the same problems, but the same system. How we use it is the one I'm going to focus on. Okay?
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Ro, I have this thought about it. Like, you know what? Sometimes people don't believe it because they don't happen to them.
Yeah.
For me, this is my point.
Yeah.
For me, I believe in something that I encounter it.
Yeah.
One example is, remember, my I, my grandma is a herbalist, right?
Yeah.
So I have a chronic asthma when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So this is the example that it will be, it's related to this situation. So my grandma is a herbalist,
Yeah.
and I have asthma, and the pharmacy, it's already in there. It's already the medication is already available.
Yeah.
But then my grandma live in the small town that is far from the pharmacy. So since she is a herbalist, she believe in the herbal thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? This is the thing that she did to me. That's why I cure without medication. I will say this because I believe
Yeah.
in myself that until now my my asthma is gone, but
Mm.
this is the power thing. This is what happened.
Yeah.
So the, she, her her um her what do you call it? Her work is that she's a herbalist. She processed with the medication and stuff, and then she gave me this medication, which is from the leaves,
Yeah.
and then she's making this syrup, which is the taste is tastes like mint. It
Yeah.
tastes like it
So,
tastes
yeah.
it tastes like refreshing in my throat, and then it tastes like they put organic honey in there. It's just
Yeah.
it's like a syrup. It's
Yeah.
a syrup. It's a pure
Yeah.
syrup, but there's no chemical in there. And then she believed that this product
Yeah.
will heal me,
Yeah.
during the time that I have an every time I have a asthma attack, and
Mm.
then this syrup, this herbal thing that she always make it if I have asthma, and then I use it, and
Yeah.
then it cures me. It cures me. And
Yeah.
then what happened is, the thing is, she observed me that she said that, okay, you have an asthma. Be careful every day
Yeah.
when you are in school. Do not play too much. Just play, but not too much, because the nighttime you will start coughing.
Yeah.
And then one thing is, when Philippines, right? It's tropical country.
Yeah.
So when it's just automatic rain.
Yeah.
When the rain comes, you know what happened to me, Dr. Rao?
Mm.
I have to be inside the house.
Yeah.
I have to cover my nose,
Yeah.
that I cannot smell the moist of the soil or the road, because it's trigger
Yeah.
my asthma.
Yeah, that is the asthma because you are exposed to the agent. It has an intrinsic reaction, and then you have the spasm, all the cough and seditions and all that. But you are right, because asthma it can happen like an allergic thing, or they can have some internal thing also. But then once you move away from the offending agent, they will be okay. But the herbs that your grandma prescribed are not just out of belief, but she had knowledge of the herbs a lot, that was
That's
built,
true.
yeah, built up
Yeah,
over the centuries. And then, but you know what? That those kind of herbs as other people are, without knowledge, they're selling as, snake oil, right? That's how they lost their repute because those older people, they were genuinely want to help people. They don't want to make money out of it, and that's why they
uh-huh.
were they were really genuine. And then they really had real knowledge. They worked very hard on that. So there are so many systems like that. But then, what it is important with the scientific thing is we can verify the results. we can prove they are correct and that they're safe. That's why I prefer scientific method in the sense of testing these things out and approving them. And
Yeah,
then,
that's true.
yeah, now we are doing it on the herbs and acupuncture and yoga and all these things is scientifically prove to people that this is safe and this is the way to do it. But people are
Yeah.
too much lack of patience and they want to take everything very quickly and it doesn't happen like that,
I
So,
yeah, I agree with you. You
yeah,
know why? This is the reason why they don't want this cure, the slow, the
yeah,
slow impact to your body.
yeah,
They want the medication to put it in their system that very very quickly. But guess what? This medication is not healing you.
yeah,
This is all to suppress whatever. If you have arthritis,
yeah,
guess what? Oh, you take medication. Oh, it will gone. Guess what? The following day it will come back. You know why? Because you suppose if you dig in, if you have arthritis, this is one example.
yeah,
If you have arthritis, don't depend on any medication.
yeah,
Go check what you eat,
yeah,
what you put it in your body, and
yeah,
then from there,
yeah,
observe your body, how they react. Now, if you change your food, food thing in whatever food you put it in your body, if it change, it means
yeah,
there's something food that trigger your arthritis.
yeah.
Or
Let's focus on this organized mind now, okay, Mavel? I will bring you back after I get my initial talk done. Then you can comment on that, okay? Okay, Mavel? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. What she is saying is really important to understand because what we put in our body is something that we want to know that it is. I think many people are intelligent enough to do that, but it is, still has to be brought to the awareness because a lot of people have taken for granted whatever anybody gives. It has some stories, some anecdotal evidence. They think it is true. Okay, and it works both ways. On the one hand, they're missing out on the real important contributions the ancient systems have made, whereas they are covering up all the mistakes of the modern medications practices. People abuse medications for everything because they want everything is a bullet, like I want a bullet tablet so that you can take it away. But actually, the modern medications are not curing but they're suppressing the symptoms and then keeping the patient chronically ill and also poor outcomes too. Anyway, we are talking today on organized mind. What does it mean? When you have a organized mind according to your purpose, your values, and you have a direction and you have a focus on the work you do and all that, right? For me, what it did, the purpose given was a sentence called Atma Mokshardham Jagat Hitaya Cha. What does it mean is for personal self-revelation, you work with the spiritual activity and all that, and that is your personal journey. As you are doing that, as you get used to the concept of understanding our inner source of our essence and all that, then you turn around and say, I'm going to help the world whatever welfare I can do. I can heal the sick or feed the poor or teach the ignorant or whatever needs that they have, whatever I can do, I'm going to go and do, not by my own aggrandizement or not my own development or accumulation of things, but more about how can I help the suffering around the world? So those two things, Atma Mokshartham, Jagat Hitaja, gave me an organized mind that is purposeful, that is really has a direction, and also it is focused, right? So it is much easier to be spiritual, but at the same time to engage in the service of the world. Okay, that's how my mind became organized in those things, and then really go away from the temptations, go away from the small things and all that. Okay, then my company develops the services for the holistic health, proactive wellness. So they both are combined with the value system that we have, and really produce the services, right? The other thing is, as we grow into that, we realized there was another saying that ancients taught me was Siva Gnana Jiva Seva. What does it mean is Shiva means that ultimate uh, force that we call God. It is there, and understanding that force of God is in all of us, and thereby we're all one in that sense. One of Agnana means the knowledge. Once you have a knowledge that God is everybody, and then when you're serving the people, you are serving the uh, God itself. Jiva means our individuals, human being, and Seva means service. So when you service the individual human being, you are doing like a worship to, or whatever service you do to the God within him, or within the animal, within the plant. All over you see that. That is another contribution that they made, which was very, very, very good for us. Okay, so exploring this kind of ancient wisdom, and then doing them was very rewarding, because the ancients did not find these universal truths uh, for some cheap selling or anything. They did it because they wanted to help the humanity. Okay? Bringing those into organized mind meaning is your organized mind has a clear clarity of what is what in life. And then just because you want to pursue some material wealth, and that is correct, that's not so. It has to be according to what is called dharma. Dharma is what it is, like a what is good for everybody and everyone, not only to America, not only to the people who are elite here. It's not like that. It is what is good for everybody. That means you don't have any discriminating bone in your body. You would serve everybody and everything. Okay, these kind of universal truths are very important. Then we can be in that universal energy of oneness. All are together. That kind of inclusiveness is there. Okay, so these are the things that guide me to stay within my mind, within my understanding, within the wisdom of the ancients and wisdom of the universal truths. They kind of direct how you go about it. You don't do just for the egotistical purpose. You transcend the ego, because you understand in the big picture of oneness, ego is like a shadow, like a hollow thing, right? So having that understanding of the Atma Mokshadam, that's the ultimate purpose of the human life, to turn inward and realize who we are, and realize that Atman, that soul, that energy, that focus, whatever you call God and all that. Once you are merged in that, once you realize you're already part of it, you are merged with it, then you have transcended the ego, and then you are dedicating your life for the service of the humanity where the divinity is there. Okay, so that gave us direction. Direction is what there's so much of lack of wellness. Mostly we see illness, right? Not the wellness. Then the wellness had to be promoted. And that's where you treat people who are ill, but then you promote wellness. That kind of all the services evolved out of that. You see stressing information technology workers. You see companies having this bossy type of leaders, and we want to turn them into servant leaders. And I teach yoga to be well, but also include so many other things too. Once you really teach them good, healthy practices that they could do, that will be a service too. And there are wellness club that is where they can come and discuss all sorts of wellness related illness, issues, right? And then there is a NEW, Nurturing Elderly Wise People, where elderly people in America are really confined to the nursing home, or they're not really going there too. So uh, they are really not thriving in their old age. They are kind of being vegetables, are neglected, or really give up on life, don't want to have anything to do. So those kind of people in university towns, they have facilities where they can go and learn a language or music or listen to poetry or any number of things they can do instead of just to staying home and watching the TV, right? So for those people, I have provided a service where they can come and learn a lot of things that I do. Like I do yoga, I do breathing, I do meditation, I do just converse with people and chat with people and help them to have the clarity in their mind and also change their lifestyle. That was a big deal for me. TLC, therapeutic lifestyle changes. So people consult me on that. What can I do with the diet? What can I do with the exercise? What can I do with calming my mind? How can I sleep better? Lot of people ask about that. How can you sleep better? All this I get involved and then I talk to them. I give them advice and I follow them, and that's a service every day I provide. Right. So these are all based on that Jagat Hitaya Cha. You work for the welfare of the world. Okay. The same thing with the corporate leaders. I teach them how to be servant leader. That means as a servant to the people you are providing products, as a servant to the people who are working under you, you kind of address their needs first before yours. That is basically servant leadership is. So having this kind of purpose, meaning, and opportunity to do things will help you really have a advantage of having an organized mind. And first of all, you have to discover, am I having a meaning or purpose in my life? What is that? If that is identified, am I doing actions in compliance with the purpose? Am I heading in that direction? That kind of a little bit of self-reflection will give you a way to go. Things can change, circumstances can change, but in your mind, those will be the purpose, or will be there firm enough. They direct you to do what is needed. Sometimes it is difficult, sometimes it is easy. But then if you are in the same direction and then you recruit people who are in the same direction, or you just be friendly with them, that also takes you that way. One thing is going inward and finding is my purpose, and that gives that organized mind. And with that organized mind, you come out and work for um, the world, okay, to the society, to community, wherever you are, okay. So anybody wants to come up and ask me any more questions on this, or uh, any other thing, I'll be happy to answer them. Mabel, you can come back, Mabel, if you are still there, because I thought I will say what I wanted to say about this first, and then we can open up for the discussion too. Actually, I'm making a big video on this organized mind, and I'll release that once it is done. Okay. So it's a question of showing people uh, advantages of being an organized mind and how ancient wisdom guided me to come to that organized mind. And then no temptations, no pressures, nothing, but you'll go by what is guiding from within you, that divinity. But doesn't mean that you shirk the responsibility of the family, or providing people and all. You do that, but you don't yield to your own personal greed or personal egotistical tendencies, right? And that way you are pretty calm and quiet in your mind, and you are not influenced by so many pressures come on us, okay. But a lot of people, they are going by whatever pressure comes to them, and then later on they regret, they want to do something meaningful and they were not able to do. And that was evident after the COVID. So many people did not to go back to the old job. They just wanted to stay home and then do with a little money than going out and doing money where their heart is not there. They don't want to be used. They want to find out what is a good relationship with my family, or they wanted to create something. They want to express themselves in so many things that they are doing, right? So that kind of thing. So there's so much more on the organized mind, that if you want, for example, your consistency comes from your organized mind. That's a valuable thing, because if you are set on something and then you are not pursued by other people, other things, you are really having your consistency. Then what happens is you be happy with achieving what you want to do. Then there is a coordination between what your values, what you're thinking, what your emotions, and what you are really doing. See, this they call manasa vacha karmana. Manasa means in your mind, in your heart. Vacha means in your speech. Karmana means in your actions. Your mind, your speech, and your actions are together. They are kind of combined. Not that you are telling something for the world and you are doing something else and you are thinking something. That creates a conflict within yourself. So another thing is the emotional balance that you get from having an organized mind is uh, the way ancient described is manas and buddhi. What is manas? Manas is that limbic system with all the experiences, all the previous genetic load, everything you get. Accordingly to whatever comes at you, the stresses, you react, right? And that's really not good, because they may not be dangerous. Still, if you imagine, you react like this is a limbic system. But over that, there is this buddhi, that's a higher intellect, which is a prefrontal cortex that's identified. Once that takes over, then you won't be impulsive with your limbic system impulses, but you will go over them, and then with the reason and also the impulse you have some a balance between your emotional feeling and also intellectual reason. That balance is really gives you the emotional resilience that you need. Okay, so there is a ancient way of saying it, there is a neuroscience way of saying it, but essentially what it is if you are very emotional and you are triggered by small things through the limbic system, that may not be true. That may not be in there. It may be some memory from the past or some imagined danger in the future. But in this moment, they are not there. So once you come to living in the present moment, then you don't have the problem of these phantoms, these shadows that you imagine. Okay, so you will be really balanced in your emotion and your action and in your reasoning. Okay, combining these three is the organized mind. Then you call it an organized mind. It's not about keeping things in order. It's not about doing some stuff and then lazing around. It's not that. First, having the organized mind leads to organization outward. You will know what are the priorities. You will know what is the emphasis you should make. Are they compliant with your values, with your systems that you have bred so long ago? And then you will operate from that organization. So like I said, my goal was turn inward and realize who I am, and then turn around and work for the service of the world, welfare of the world in the form of services that you do. You may get money or no money, but that's not important. What's important is what is my value, what I'm doing, what I'm saying, are they all in congruence, or they are together in synthesis and together. Then you will be able to live happily, because you are not going against your own uh, inner desire or inner value, more than desire, inner value. See, other thing with ancient wisdom happened was not only you transcend egoic sense, and thereby you really identify the oneness with everybody. Thereby you don't have the loneliness, and you don't have any fear of death and all that too, and you don't really bothered by the emotions related to that. Okay, that's kind of a deeper subject, but basically examine whether you have a clear direction in your life, whether you have clear value in your life, whether you are following them or you are being instinctive. And as things happen, you end up rolled that way, this way, and all that. But if you are having that inner resilience of balance of emotion and reason, then you will be doing very purposefully towards your goals, and you have a direction how to go about it, and you also really focused on that, and you enjoy that work also. When the physician is burned out and when they approach me, the first thing we look at is how are they health wise, physically, and lots of times they are so stressed inside that reflects on their health. They may not be eating properly, they may not be exercising, they may not be really resting and sleeping. That's a major thing. And then they don't know how to really calm the mind and enjoy the stillness of the mind in a blissful way. That is possible, but that may not be possible for everybody, but some people may. But at least you can calm the mind down. You can make it organized so that you can pursue what you want to do in life better. Okay, so like if you have diabetes, they go and seek help. If they have emotional problems, most of the time they don't want to go anywhere, right? They think we can solve it. Okay, and then if they don't know how to have a organized mind in the sense of having a clarity, direction, and focus, they don't seek help. But there is help modern both in neuroscience, both in ancient wisdom. So for me, the ancient wisdom, studying it, learning it, they were much closer to the universal truths. They were much closer to the inner realm than the modern people are. They were not egotistical. They were not oriented to profits. But whereas modern people are very egotistical and they think the ego is them, and then they go the wrong way. And also they have this profit orientation, money making, or some of the name making, whatever, right? And finally, when they are very old, they may realize. But at the time when they are doing that, that is giving them a lot of stress. But they are so desirous of having the lot of money, lot of name, and all that. So they do not see that this is damaging them and damaging other people too. Okay. So that's about, in brief, I talked about it. But if you want more details, it depends upon what you want to know about it, which part of it. Like I told you, the sayings are important for me, that they are not just saying, they are applied wisdom. Okay. Atma Mokshadam Jagat Hitaja, Sivagnana Jiva Seva, and oneness of all and divinity in everybody. And these are all very famous ancient wisdom. And the people who are still prejudiced about East and West don't have to worry about that, because it is said in a different way in all cultures. We don't have to dig deep and then find it there or there. But implementation wise, some cultures have done that, some cultures more, and some cultures less. But then the domination of this external orientation, ego development, and profits, that happened with the modern civilization. And that is wreaking havoc not only with the planet, but also with the individual human beings in terms of their mental health, in terms of a peace of mind, in terms of lack of joy, right? So all that was possible with the knowledge of the ancients. They had simple life outwardly and very rich inner life, and they turned towards the uh, divinity much more than the modern people do nowadays. Even if somebody wants to know what is true spirituality and all that, they want to use it to make a better living for themselves, or make a better name for themselves. That is that is a tragedy. Okay. Uh, Hi Peter, thank you for sending all that. Come up and talk to me. What do you think about it? So it's a kind of important to really study not just the modern spinning, that are fine, but then how about conquering the inner life, having an organized mind, having a heart that is full of love and affection and really sharing, right? All these are possible if you understand how does manas or limbic system work, what was the use of that, and how we are kind of making it a problem, right? That means we are reacting too much. By reacting emotionally, we are making so many stress hormones. I'm going very colloquial for the lay people, right? And then once you have that, the same is if you have good feelings like happiness, friendliness, like kindness, and all that, gratitude, all this produce good hormones. But how many people are staying in that? You know. So I have a guest coming up, Peter. I thought he will come up. Good. Welcome, Peter. Peter, where? Oh, got that window. Try again, Peter. It is kind of, yeah. I hope it will succeed this time. Welcome.
Hey, Doc. Namaste.
Namaste, Peter. How are you?
I am good. Very busy with work today.
Yeah.
I beg your. I just plugged into kind of had your talk playing in the background.
Yeah.
I got pieces of it. I heard Mabel speak a little bit, but again, haven't been fully focused. But just looking at an organized mind. I mean, for me, that I am new in my practice, but I am nevertheless in my practice.
Yeah.
And for me, being diagnosed with ADHD, it wasn't called that when I was a child.
Yeah.
Just to this day, I have the same brain, but what works for me is meditation and mindfulness, which is really not mindfulness. We know that it's
awareness. Yeah.
So I go into like that's how I live my day every day. And I'll tell you, if I skip my practice or I don't even start it on time, or especially if I don't start my day out with that, boy, the day kind of spins out of control, and I got to get back to my practice.
Yeah. No, so this organized mind is more like the entire purpose of life. It may be revised, as you learn more and more of it. But then, any given day, your mind, your speech, your actions are together when your mind knows this clarity, this direction, and the focus.
Yeah. So you're saying it's a total. It's not just obviously meditation practices, but it's the totality of.
Yeah, but the meditation practices are good. Keep your mind quiet. But the thing is, if you dig deep and go into your real values, real things you are trying to do, what you innately feel, this is the ultimate thing I want to do, or this is the best I know so far, that's all okay. But if it is like I want to make a living, I want to give, and all that, maybe you have an inner compulsion that you are not bringing out. And maybe circumstances are not allowing it. Maybe understanding of, oh, okay, this is not scientific, this is scientific, that kind of confusion is there too. But what is the universal value I'm going after? What is the ultimate value of human life? That kind of fundamental questions, exploration, that was done by ancients thousands of years ago, and then they had cultures for number of thousands of years that was very, uh, with the inner peace, inner joy, inner kind of love and affection for everybody that was there. And we can touch that now by just being smart about both.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
You know,
saying. Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree with that. And I mean, I think just looking at my life in the big picture, I think now that you explained it to me that way, I kind of do have that organized mind. The only thing is, like with my coaching practice, I don't even like calling it that, but I started with just doing it for free, doing it to help people get unstuck, and doing it to help people who have had a year of recovery get to the next level of their lives. And a lot of these folks were business owners in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area.
Yeah.
And, you know, Pete, what can I give you? And I just tell them, donate it to a charity. I'm fine. And, you know, that was the case. And but now I find that it's occupying a lot of my time. So I'm in the space now where I am taking clients on, because that's just, I'm doing less of the other work that I'm doing. So more of my time is spent in that recovery practice and life coaching, if you will. I don't like any of those terms, by the way.
See, what happens with this? I don't know. You heard the Sanskrit thing I told you, which really got me going in this. Is first one is Atma Mokshardham, that is self-realization, right?
Yeah.
Turn inward and realize yourself. Not about external achievements, but about that. But I know ultimately what it did was it gave me a mind that is so focused, that can retain so much, that can work so much, and I can go into very, very deep aspects because of that focus, right?
Yeah.
And that focus is more like I don't have to do any meditation. I am in that meditative awareness all the time.
Yeah.
No, it
I know
doesn't mean
that.
everybody.
I know that about you, Doc. And when I first heard you say that, I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we can all be there. That's my point. You know, I'm not special or anything. It's a question of correct knowledge.
yeah.
And that
But
is
now,
what.
since I've known you on this app, though, I've taken that state out of my special place in my home, and I started with walking, and I'm in that state of joy. And I've told you this, like when I'm walking and moving, but I love that I can be in a supermarket or out at an appointment and then just think about it and just bring myself into that state of bliss. I'm smiling right now when I say it. And before you, I didn't really consider doing that. I'm like, let me just get back home, get back into the silence, but I can carry it with me. So I thank you for that. I don't think
it's more like this, Peter. We call in Sanskrit health is called swasthya. That means when you are very young, when you are very healthy, we are in that state of health, right?
Yeah.
And then we may do some wrong eating or something that we don't do properly for the health thing. They go out of whack, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't notice that unless that becomes a problem and body is telling, hey, something is wrong, I'm painful, or I'm having creakiness, or whatever symptoms that wrong. My point is, you can maintain that kind of health by having the knowledge of how to prevent the things that we do to the body.
Yeah.
The same thing with the mind. Be knowledgeable, correct knowledge, not whatever comes to you. See, for example, you are supposed to meditate for going inward and finding yourself. That was the original purpose of why the rishis and munis invented in the ancient time, at least the Indian system. But now people are using meditation to sleep better, to reduce stress, which are all okay. But I'm saying don't limit yourself to that. There's so much more behind. See, that's all I'm saying. What you are doing is
there's a lot more. And here's, I don't want to say it's the danger, but just stay with me for a second. I think there is a danger in part of it, and it doesn't affect the whole, it doesn't affect the universe. But I think a lot of people have used those portions of it to get more clients, to get more money, and they actually will teach that.
It's the individual approach also. I'm talking about the individual approach is more like how can I get better health? How can I sleep better? How can I do it? But then I go and do all those things that give me this stress in my mind. That's
Yeah.
where you need the organized
Oh,
mind,
okay.
and
Right.
then
Yeah.
the organized mind will help you to be in your direction. For example, you realize, yeah, there is what is called meditative awareness. That means I can be in that, and then I can use my thought consciously.
Right.
Then you are not a victim of thought, you are using thought. You are
You're
better off.
using it as a
Yeah,
tool.
as a tool, and also use it better. You are more
Yeah.
focused, and then you are not dictated by negative impulses coming from you, and you can easily discriminate them. Okay. uh,
Yeah.
Obviously we can get them from our memory or from
Mhm.
the circumstances. Suppose I place myself in a bar situation which I never go. If I go there and they're fighting with each other, then I can also get into the fight, and that kind of. They're like some people are there in the company. They say, "Oh, you'll make $10,000 if you do this, $20,000 if you do," and all that. And they caught up in that and use that meditative capacity in the wrong way.
Right.
That's all
Well,
I'm
yeah,
talking
that's what I
about.
was kind of getting at. And
Yeah,
they teach this stuff in
yeah,
sales,
yeah.
classes, and the capitalistic society like
Mm.
really rewards that type of behavior. So they
Yeah.
found they've tapped into this realm of what they call meditation, and which is really just a small part of it.
Yeah.
And there are people are getting some benefit, but it's solely focused on producing more and making more money, and you're missing
It's
the
like a
point.
whipping the horse continuously and then giving it a break.
Yeah.
Whipping the mind
Yeah.
continuously, and then you see what I do is I don't get to receive those whips,
Mm.
understand them, so it doesn't affect me. See, like a Buddha said, if I don't receive the insult, where is the insult hurting me?
Yeah.
See, he
Yeah.
was giving a pravachan, that's like a discourse, and everybody was listening to him. But this one gentleman was very annoyed, and he got up and then he abused Buddha for whatever reason, and then he called him names, and then finally he spat on him. And then Buddha remained the same. Then that man left, and all the disciples around they were kind of approached Buddha and said, "Why did you tolerate him? He was insulting, he was spitting on you, he was doing all this." Then he said, "If somebody hurls an insult at me, if I don't take it, how can it affect me?" And he has this enormous kindness in him, right? Amongst the compassion and all that. So what he was able to see is the divinity even in the person's bad behavior, not the bad behavior, but behind who is it? The
Mm.
divinity is covered by his ignorance, his lack of understanding. And once you have
Wow.
that, actually, this is solution for the suffering. He said, two arrow theory. First arrow is something will come at us at some point of time in our life, everybody's life, either it is illness or death or some unfortunate incident, whatever the life throws first arrow at us. You cannot
Yeah.
stop that. That will come to us. Then how do you react is the solution Buddha talked about. And the same thing is, if you have an organized mind and then you don't allow your limbic loop to form, that means, Peter, you're going to be punished tomorrow, you will not have the salary raise, or whatever I say that to you, or you think that I'm having that kind of intention by the way I threatened you, right?
Yeah.
And in your own mind, that kind of imagining or perceiving threat, it secretes a lot of stress hormones.
Yeah.
But
Cortisol and stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
So release it.
yeah, then you're going to
Release
go
it.
into the stress hormone level, and I can tell you all the hormones, how they are, how many hormones we identified and all. What is the missing point there is, how can me, in spite of coming all those stresses at me, have a organized mind that tells me that this is imaginary, this is not happening here and now. Even if it happens, can I do something about it? If I cannot do it, why don't I take it and leave it? That kind of reasoning, balancing your emotional feeling, is what is organized mind is about.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I
I
think a
mean,
whole
I mean, this is
talk and be
important. Yeah, important
just
to
yeah,
be. Yeah.
because I do know that science has told us that
Yeah.
they've studied it. Like people can actually think about a situation or circumstance that's not threatening them at the moment, but as they're thinking about it and creating it in their minds, their body is going through the physiological, biological.
From my
s-
children to the corporate people
s-
that I train, Peter, they all
Yeah,
bring something that happened before or something in their mind. I always tell them, don't live in your mind. Keep your mind organized, but don't live in your thought, imagining things. Face the reality. What is in front of you here and now? And usually they bring something. Oh, he was complaining. My son one day, uh, 3 or 4 months ago, his sister and they get along, but there's something happened, and then they were kind of mad at each other. Then I asked him, when did this happen? This happened 6 months ago, and we are talking and all that, but still I have that. I said, why are you making it a reality when it has happened? It is gone, dead, worried. Here in this moment, are you having any issue with that? No. Then enjoy that. Why are you allowing the memory in your mind disturb your peace now? That's the same thing in a bigger way. My corporate friends and my, servant leadership students or burnout doctors, they all do the same thing. They live in their head.
yeah. And I think there's patterns of that. I think
Yeah.
that, there's something to be said about hereditary and how you're brought up.
Yeah.
If you see your parents maybe worrying or in a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
pattern of
Oh, yeah.
worry, that's an imprint.
Yeah.
It's imprinted.
Yeah, that
into
is
your
all the
psyche, but I also
conditioning.
think it's part of being.
Absolutely right, Peter. That's all the conditioning that happens from the school, culture, understanding. The biggest thing what people miss is how our human thought evolved at one time and went beyond it into the real wisdom. We are not tapping into that. I am fortunate I can have tapped into it. That's why I'm impervious to the surroundings because I go with more things that I have. I may be affected a little bit, but immediately my resilience comes and helps me.
Yeah. So I'm getting glimpses of that in my
Yeah.
life and trying to live like that. And I tried to model that after, what you said and your talks and stuff. And I'm really fortunate
Yeah.
in that I do live alone. I schedule all of my work, and I work out of my home office, so I don't have the distractions of a dynamic work environment.
Yeah.
So I'm able to practice those things throughout the day because life still gets stressful when you're on
Oh,
a video
oh,
call and
Peter,
there's different personalities.
you brought in a very good point because like imagine you are a doctor coming to me to talk about some confusion, something like that. But essentially, you are in the core, you are trying to listen to the people and also be getting along and also be camaraderie, like
Yeah,
agreeable and all that. And that is
sure.
where people are afraid to offend other people. You don't have to do that. Only be true to your core, and eventually you don't have to take it on them, anything like that. But then in your inner self, how are you dealing with that?
Yeah,
Then they'll fall off, and then you don't have to be disagreeable, but at the same time you don't have to compromise to what you know as the truth, to social behavior, social things. So that is the way we have to say, this is the way you have to carry, this is the way you have to please people. That is a big, big problem. People don't realize that.
yeah,
Because you're single, you may say you are saying I'm single and all, but even married people have the same aloneness among each other. They're not
yeah,
really close. Their wife and husband are going different directions.
yeah,
And that
for
becomes an
sure.
issue, and then that drops all your energy. Only lucky thing is that if you don't have somebody to fight, you don't have that.
Yeah,
But observe yourself. Am I giving validity to some things that I don't really believe in, but I do it for politeness or diplomacy or just being agreeable and just being part of? But the problem is the society as it is built now is really in disorder
yeah,
in thought. So once you
Yeah.
understand how you said that, there were so many things happen in the childhood and all. That's true, very true. If you say things to people, you are nothing, no good, you are a dull person, you are not good, and comparing him to somebody else, they're dead right there.
Yeah.
They don't
And I
grow.
had to make the shift,
Yeah,
like, because, once, the little that I know and the more that I'm learning, it seems so clear and so apparent, like this should be taught
yeah,
in primary school, for just as children, and this would cure all kinds of societal ills and really take a lot of people out of suffering. So I see that and I look at the system and I really have to resist the urge to criticize the system because I need to focus on the answer,
yeah.
the solution, and not the problem. Because the problem is there and I know it. I want to scream it out, but that does not help. So I have to keep reminding myself
I
to
remember
focus on the
something
solution.
J. Krishnamurti said. If you want to be uh, focusing on the society and
Yeah,
then follow their so-called order, you will be in disorder. That doesn't mean that you have to go and fight with them. No, revolution is happening within you, how you perceive all that, and what is happening to the world as a whole. So you don't have to get up and just say everything is bad and all that. But we
yeah,
understand the forces and then live accordingly so that we don't go get it by swept by the force.
yeah,
It's a very peaceful, Peter, that way. See, I
yeah,
see immediately I can see anybody talking, anybody coming with a perspective. I immediately see where they are coming from, right?
yeah,
But I don't want
yeah.
to judge them on that because I focus on the divinity I see in them.
Right.
That's what
And I
Buddha
really
taught.
believe
Yeah. The Buddha
what
taught
Matt
us,
was
right?
saying.
Yeah. That's what he said.
Yeah,
I'm seeing the
yeah,
divinity in that man, not the what he's hurling at me.
right. And I really believe in the absence of all the circumstances that have led up to this moment in my life. Like, I think that, like, living alone and being able to have a quiet atmosphere
Mm.
and being able to think and contemplate, like, for me, this is how the universe has orchestrated my life now because I think there's other work to do.
Yeah.
And I just talked about it. Part of it is listening to your nickname for me is Guruji.
Mm.
Listening to you
Mm.
and just like focusing on that. But I can get away from it. But the way the universe has smiled upon me is like it knows my brain and my process. So a quiet atmosphere, especially when learning, is best for me. So this is my life today. This is how it is, and
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying
Can
it.
I throw a challenge for you and me, Peter?
Please.
The challenge is the raucous noise, the raucous mental energy, everything thrown at us. Can we be silent in the midst of that? For example, somebody went to New York City, Times Square, and then he really literally stood in the middle of all these corporate liars okay, see, right? And then he was putting himself a test to himself. What it is, can I be still in this kind of thing, or am I sending my senses to all over what I see, what I hear, and then I'm getting a noise in my mind about judgment, about comments, and all that. You practice that and you touch that stillness, that's the most peaceful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of enjoy that peace in the middle of people. If some people, some rooms I go, they will be arguing against something like they are that this is the only way, and the other has to accept until the time they will be fighting, right? But
Right.
I watch myself, not them. What
So
is what? Yeah. What
the
is
way
the?
I've done it, like I've
Yeah.
gone out for walks. Like I said, I do it in walking
Yeah.
meditation, and sometimes I'll challenge myself, and it's a busier area or something.
Yeah.
Or if I drive downtown and I'm amongst
Yeah.
all the noise,
Yeah.
like I'll say to myself, like instead of saying, okay, I'm just gonna block things out, I just say to myself, I'm already at peace. I just have to return to who I am
Yeah.
and just
See,
be.
there is a statement: stillness of mind is a function of the mind that is neglected. That's why all the noise takes over.
Right.
But if you are in that functional state of mind, where it
Yeah.
is still, and you nurture that, because you are not, this is the pratyahara. You remember that I told you about the yoga?
Yes.
That is, sensory things are coming, you are seeing something, that impulse is coming to you, and then your mind may kick in and say that color, that shape, that all that. But
Yeah.
when the impulse is coming, can you stay with impulse without eliciting the reaction?
I'm
That is
learning.
that is the pratyahara. That's very tough, I'm telling you, but it's not.
Yeah.
But once you see as a theory, it is possible. And
Yeah.
then actually the act is happening. You are walking, you are seeing a leaf that's beautiful green, and immediately you say, "Oh, how beautiful this green is," and you go into the description of it instead of just enjoying the beauty.
Yeah. So the folks in my area here, they when I'm walking through the streets, a lot of folks who walk, like I usually have a upturned lips and a smile and just this joy about me. And they think because I have earphones on or my iPads and that I'm listening to something that's funny. It's not like, it's probably this app, but I'm really just focusing on the joy and just acknowledging another being and enjoying those trees and just I've learned to walk in that blissful state, man. It's been
No,
such
I
a
told
game
so
changer.
many times to this app to so many people, I think they misunderstood me. But basically, I said, you are all focusing on everybody growing together. Don't do that. Do inward your development, your focus. Like, for example,
Yeah,
when I said this pratyahara, what you can do is leave the senses around window for a while. That means 5 o'clock you get up, 5 to 5:15. I'm not going to allow any sense go and get the impulse from me.
yeah,
And that's easy to do at the time. But later on, you go to the walk, then you say, let me be aware of the impulse of seeing something and coming into me and my reaction. The more you are aware of your reaction, they go down. Like I can be in a thick area and I can be very silent inside. That's all did not happen just like that. It's not like a we are extraordinary thing. It's a question of right knowledge, right practice. What it is it's a normal uh, patient comes to me, and then the moment he comes to me, the way he is crouching, the way he is holding, I may have an idea of this area is affected. That's why he's crouching and all that. And there are so many things that we learn in the medical science that people will display their inner comfort through this posture like that. That's all knowledge. Then
yeah,
immediately my knowledgeable self that goes towards that. But the challenge is, can I just hold on to my judgment till I completely examine the patient, till the patient completely expresses himself, right? And that
yeah,
is that is important. People don't do that because you're always leaving your senses occupied. Give them a rest.
yeah,
That people don't do. But once you learn to give rest to the senses, that becomes so much easier to handle the impulses, and also so much easier to handle the responses to the impulses. That is the key. The minimal response you have, the more stable, peaceful inner environment you have. What people are relying is they want affirmed, they want to be validated, they want to be appreciated, they want to be given words of encouragement. That's all really being dependent outward. You don't have to, because you have that inner diamond within. Once you are in there, all these things, even if they say, okay, laugh it off and go.
yeah.
Otherwise, they become the sustenance, they become the dependency part. But
And
never
there's
worry.
nothing wrong with any things that you talk about, like
Yeah,
nurturing. Like we're in these physical bodies, and
yeah,
there's work to be done on this
yeah.
physical plane. So we're, for a mother nurturing their young child, like you hugging your wife, there
Nothing
is
wrong.
that.
They're
But
natural.
no,
They're
perfect.
natural.
But if we have the emptiness,
Yeah.
of all the things that we're talking about, we will overdose, or not overdose, but God forbid, we will always continually seek outside of ourselves for fulfillment.
You know, you did a good word there, emptiness. You know what the ancients point out? It's called Purnam. Purnam is the whole
So I
round.
think Dr. Rao, you might be
Yeah,
muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was pointing out the word you said, emptiness, Peter. That is it, because ancient talked about, there is a famous poem, it's called Purnamidam, Purnamadam, Purna. That is a very wonderful poem, but it is that which created you is whole, like a whole of a zero, Purnam, right? And then that Purnam has given the Purnam to you. So you are Purnam, and that you created is also, that you created you is also Purnam. So you are basically of that. And that is in there because you are going outward with your senses, with your intellect. You are never in touch with the Purnam is already in you, the wholeness that's already in you. Once you touch that, you are abundant.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to go outward at all.
This is a reminder.
Sorry, that was Alexa.
Okay. So what it is challenge yourself being still in mind when you are in the middle of all sorts of impulses. And also challenge yourself to leave the senses alone.
Okay, I'll do it.
And then see, you'll have the magic, and then you'll tell me about it.
We'll let you know. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao.
Okay, sure, Peter. Thanks for coming up.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste. So that was a good talk. I always have with Peter, and Peter does come here and contribute quite a bit in all the talks. Okay, so I think 1 hour, 15 minutes or close to that we have come here. And anybody else want to say anything or ask me anything about this organized mind? You can come up. Okay. All right. If everybody is satisfied, then I will see you back again when I have the time or when I have the impulse to present something. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.